No longer just targeting students.
Our data is clearly demonstrating that the majority of our outbreak is in this age category.
All 18 to 22-year-olds now banned from gathering together in Boulder County for the next 2 weeks.
If you're going to do a stay-at-home mandate, it can't just be a certain segment of kids.
We need to solve this problem together. We can do it.
Plus, Denver is making their own changes to keep COVID-19 cases down at their universities.
Every step of the way, we've targeted our public health orders to where we are seeing cases stemming.
And a 5-day search begins to find Suzanne Morphew.
Not finding would be the worst.
Gatherings of any size of people between the ages of 18 and 22 years old now banned in Boulder County.
The order just went into effect about an hour ago and will remain in place for the next 2 weeks. Gatherings are banned everywhere, both indoors and out, as the county tries to curb the spike in COVID-19 cases. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for Denver7 at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Let's get right to Denver7's Jason Grenauer in Boulder.
And Jason, a lot of people are wondering how this will be enforced and what the consequences would be.
Exactly, and those consequences could be in effect for, again, all people 18 to 22 here in Boulder County. We're not just talking about students here on campus, though they make up the largest segment of that population here in Boulder County. It's also students off campus. So not only is this public health order specifically targeted at age, but also at addresses.
We see the numbers, they keep going up and up and up, so something has to change.
And something major is changing. As of right now, any group gatherings of any size here in Boulder, indoors or out, are in violation of a public health order.
Just a little sad about it. I mean, I was excited to go meet people this year.
We already live together, but we're not allowed to go to the store together. I think that's
The new rules are for 18 to 22-year-olds because 18 to 22-year-olds are the two spiking lines on the county's COVID-19 cases chart. CU Boulder officials say they're on board.
I believe that we'll see a significant change in the number of infectious cases based upon this order.
Other universities have used this pause strategy quite successfully, and we have every reason to believe that this will be successful as well.
That health order also institutes a stay-at-home order for 36 properties in Boulder, including many sorority and fraternity houses on the Hill, banning anyone from leaving or visiting for 14 days. The county says those properties have violated prior health orders or had COVID-19 outbreaks.
Yeah, it's not fair. Either get everyone or get no one, so.
This student lives at one of those properties.
I think it's impossible to enforce, and also if you're going to do a stay-at-home mandate, it can't just be a certain segment of kids.
When it comes to enforcement, county officials say University and Boulder police will be stepping up their efforts. Violations can carry a fine of up to $5,000 and up to 18 months in jail. Now also today, Governor Jared Polis putting out a statement in regards to this health order, saying that the sooner that young people can avoid gatherings, the sooner they can go back to things like in-person learning and regular activities. He called this urgent action to try to help stop the spread of the virus here in this community. Reporting live tonight in Boulder, I'm Jason Grenauer, Denver7.
Jason, thanks. And there is some good news coming from CU today, depending on how you look at it. So yesterday, the school reported the lowest positive case count in the past 20 days. And that could be due to the recent quarantine that went into effect or the crackdown on parties. But also, the school screened fewer than 900 students yesterday. That's the smallest amount this month. Also, all students began 2 weeks of remote learning yesterday as well.
And here in our state, we added another 548 positive COVID-19 cases today. Also, bad news for Kiowa, the lone Colorado county with no coronavirus cases. Well, today they were added to the list after making more than 200 days without a positive case. Hospitalizations do remain low. 258 people are currently being hospitalized for coronavirus. Thousands of beds, though, are still available for COVID-19 patients. There is a concerning rise in coronavirus cases here in Denver. That's what the city's mayor said today, and added that Denver's positivity rate is now back up to 5%. Now, despite that, the city is still closing the drive-through testing site at Pepsi Center at the end of this month and focusing instead on community testing sites.
We've always said that it's not getting to our most vulnerable populations. And so it makes sense to stand that down now and more strategically set up these sites to take the place of the Pepsi Center.
Also today, the mayor announced that masks will now be required for athletes who can't maintain a proper social distance. And that means players for sports like soccer and football. They'll have to wear masks as they play for the time being. The city says they are focusing on university sports for right now because that's where they're seeing a spike in cases. And that means Denver high school players don't have to wear masks. And yes, there will be no masks on Broncos players this coming Sunday.
Today we're learning 3 people were arrested last night in Denver during the protest of the grand jury's decision in the Breonna Taylor case. Now, 2 arrests were for carrying illegal large magazines, the other for blocking the street. And Denver police say they did not arrest the driver seen in this video driving through the protesters. Police stopped him, questioned him, but have not cited him. They say they are actually still investigating this one. And we spoke to the driver today. You're going to hear his side of what happened tonight on Denver7 News at 6. Despite all that, though, last night's protests were largely peaceful.
It has been more than 4 months since Suzanne Morphew went out for a bike ride on Mother's Day.
And after countless searches, there's little information about what happened to her. Her family, though, is determined to find out. Denver7's Lance Hernandez joins us live in Chaffee County.
And Lance, you spoke with her brother, and he says they just want closure, right?
He said that's what he and his family want. He says not knowing where his sister is taking a toll on the family. So today, he and several of the 100 or so volunteers who gathered here this morning focused their search on the area where his sister lived.
I'm going to go out by the Morphew home.
Andrew Mormon instructing volunteers who gathered at the visitor center in Poncha Springs.
We're looking for torn clothing, human remains, and things of that nature.
Some of the volunteers went up to Dead Horse Gulch, others to Puma Path near Suzanne Morphew's home. That area was the focus of the investigation early on.
The pink ribbon at the bottom.
Morphew's bike was found at the bottom of this hill.
Upside down, leaning against the tree.
But there was no blood or evidence of injury, which makes her brother think
it was thrown over here. It's planted evidence. Yeah, without question.
Searchers combed on foot through this heavily treed area. One group found a mound of earth that looked freshly overturned. They started digging, but found no evidence of the missing woman. On a nearby mountain, Andrew told us he's afraid of what he might find and afraid of what he might not find. I asked which would be worse.
Not finding would be the worst. But the best I'll be able to get out of that is at least I gave it a damn big effort.
Among the searchers, retired Denver police officers Dan and Donna McNulty.
When someone needs help, it's up to all of us to kind of chip in and help.
They said they couldn't always help when they were both working full-time jobs. Now they have more time.
I know the sheriff personally at Chaffee County, and anything we can do to help them and help Andy and his family get through this, it's the least you can do.
Still hopeful and happy to chalk off areas, you know what I mean?
Mormon said he wants to find his little sister and take her home. He said they'll continue searching through Monday if necessary. Now, one volunteer from Grand Junction says he approached another man approached him with a shotgun slung over his shoulder. He said that man wouldn't provide his name, but told him he was on private property. He can't help but think that was Barry Morphew. We were told Morphew is not taking part in this search. In Chaffee County, Lance Hernandez, Denver7.